What up, crowdfunders? Salvador Brickman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified channel. Hope you've had a chance to check out some of my other videos on YouTube. I talk a lot about strategies, tips, advice for getting backers, traffic. We talk about nonprofit crowdfunding campaigns, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, really just all across the board when it comes to crowdfunding. But today I actually want to talk about a question I've been getting a lot from my students recently, and that is how to structure your story. How do you structure your actual story? The person who's created a product for Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or even if you're a nonprofit, how do you structure your story in such a way that people are going to listen to it, they're going to be interested to hear from you, and it also adds to your overall offering. It adds to the campaign. It makes people have much more desire for your product. So not just like telling your story like, well, I was born in El Salvador, I grew up in Massachusetts, I went to school in Washington, D.C., I did all of these different things. Oh yeah, I'm also a blogger. I'm not talking about like your story from the moment of conception, the moment of birth. I'm talking about the story as it relates to the product. The first important part to understand about storytelling is that emotions are king. Emotions are what allow people to feel like that you've created a product for them, and also for them to relate to you a little bit, to get a sense of who you are. Some of you guys out there, you might have seen my other video on my other YouTube channel talking about my adoption, talking about how I went back to El Salvador and I was able to actually find my birth mother. It was a really crazy, wild story. I had a lot of emotions obviously going through my body, and a lot of people have said, wow, I can only imagine how you felt, or seeing the way that you responded, or just the way that you're talking about this. It really gives me a sense of who you are. And that's exactly what emotions do. They allow us to vibe with other people, to get a sense of who they are, of what their character is like, and also just to feel the same things that they felt in a particular situation. So when you're telling your story, I'm going to assume that you, the entrepreneur, the individual making this product, that we're telling the story about you basically coming up with this particular solution. That just makes things a little bit simpler. When you're telling the story, you first want to talk about the emotions that you felt around the problem. So let's just say that you are creating a new backpack which people can take hiking, that makes things a lot simpler for some reason. Maybe it's better quality material, maybe it's easier to carry things, or something like that. You would first talk about the emotions that you felt as a result of this problem that you experienced. So maybe you felt frustrated because you were trying to go on long hikes and it was hard to carry all of these different things. It was really bulky. It was just frustrating. Maybe you felt freaking awkward because you're like a mule with all these other, bags on you, because there's not one big bag that like makes everything fit uniformly. Maybe you're carrying a few different bags and you have your purse and like different stuff. So maybe you feel really awkward also from having to carry all of these, to basically to deal with this problem where you need a lot of stuff and you got to carry it with you, but there wasn't a great way to do it. What you want to do is you want to get out a sheet of paper and you basically want to list out all of the emotions that you feel or you felt around this problem. And the reason why you want to do that is because when you describe a problem accurately, when you describe a problem with the right emotions, the right way that you felt in that particular situation, people get a sense that you understand the problem, because likely they feel the same way. Maybe they also felt frustrated because blank, and you can fill in the blank. Maybe they also felt awkward because, and they can fill in the blank. In the beginning of the story, when you're talking about your emotions and how you felt about the problem, that's an opportunity for people to connect with you and to subtly realize that if you felt those problems the same way that they do, and you had similar emotions in the same way that they did, likely the solution you came up with is going to be a good fit for them. So the second part of this story format is to think about your struggle, to think about, okay, you had this problem, you felt this particular way about the problem, and now you're struggling to create a solution to this problem. So for whatever reason, the existing solutions out there, maybe they didn't do this, or they didn't do that, or they just, for whatever reason, didn't fully solve the problem. You went out there, you tried to make prototypes, maybe you had to wrestle with some of these other issues that were coming up, maybe you had to figure out what material to make the product out of. For whatever reason, there's a setback. There's some force, something you're struggling against in order to make this product a reality. And of course, that should be 100% true. There should be a truthful setback, or there should be truthful challenges that you were going through as you're trying to make this solution. And what that sort of middle period allows us to feel is authenticity. It allows us to get a sense of the work that you put in order to make this fully polished solution for them to just one day purchase. It's really more realistic. If you were just to say something like, oh yeah, I had all of these problems, these pain points, and then I magically came up with a solution, it just doesn't sound genuine. It doesn't sound real, because that's not how things happen. It's not real. You clearly just want their money. However, if you are authentic, about what you felt about the problem, the things you experienced, and then you were authentically and transparently sharing about how you struggled, how you had to create these different prototypes, and eventually you stumbled on something that did all the things, that really solved the problem in a good way, that's much more of an authentic story. Now, the final part of this story formula is the emotions that you feel afterwards. So now that you have this solution, which has all these different features, which result in these benefits, which are different from any other product on the market, because obviously the existing products don't adequately solve this initial problem. Once you have all of that, then you have to paint a picture of how life is different because of the solution that you've created. Now, that could be your own life. Maybe you felt different. You no longer felt frustrated. You were actually happy and able to enjoy hikes and walks in nature. Or you no longer felt awkward carrying all these different bags, because now you have one uniform bag, which makes it easy to store all of your contents. You need to paint a picture emotionally of the change that happened before the problem, all the things that were persistent there, the frustration, the solution, and then the emotions that you felt afterwards. What this actually does is it allows people to get a sense of how they might feel in the future, and because you've already adequately described their problem initially, it's likely that they're going to want to feel the way that you felt in the future. I recommend also painting a picture for people, not just listing out the emotions like, now I feel happy, now I feel like, not worried, now I feel like this is painless, not just saying that, but also painting a picture. So painting a picture could be, I'm no longer having fights with my loved ones while we're on a hike because I'm no longer frustrated. We can just enjoy the cool air of the mountains and take in the amazing greenery around us and just enjoy the time together and walk through babbling brooks or walk by babbling brooks and enjoy the sun on our skin and just really have a great time. Don't just list the emotion, also describe that situation and describe what a future possibility could be like once they actually own this actual product. So for those of you out there that were asking me for a step-by-step process that you can follow, something that was easy, something that was more paint by numbers, I hope that this process sort of helps you and it also gets you thinking more about how you can actually fit your story, not only to share some information about yourself, allow people to connect with you, but also to increase demand or increase desire for the actual product that you've created. Now, I can only go so in depth here with a YouTube video. With my coaching students, I can get more granular when it comes to a more complex, actually crafting that story. And if that's something that's it's interesting to you, if you want to work one-on-one with me, if you want to go through one of my coaching programs, you can always do that. You can shoot me an email. I'll include my contact information down below if you want to learn more about that opportunity. And guys, finally, I have so much great info out there. Like, I'm tooting my own horn here, obviously, but I have a lot of good YouTube videos out there. I work hard to make good content for you. I have a podcast, I have the blog, I have books out there online, I even have my online courses. There's tons of education out there for you. You really just got to dig in. And when you finally get to that point where you're ready to maybe bring me on as a coach or someone else out there, or to have help leading up to this project, and you have the resources and the budget to do that, then you can reach out. But until that time, take advantage of some of the free content I got out there. Hope you enjoy it. Give me a thumbs up if you like it so more people can discover these videos. But again, my name is Sal. Hope you have a great week or weekend, and I'll see you next time.